So basketball, do you know much about it? I don't, and in this video we'll be reacting to some basketball, reacting on some of the history of the NBA as we educate ourselves on the sport, the history of the sport, as we go down this weird rabbit hole of professional sports. Now, the idea of this video actually came to me yesterday while I was going through the comment section of my recent videos, and I got a comment from McCheeky123, which really gave me the whole idea of today's video, where he was basically breaking down the NBA teams, giving me a better idea of which team ranks where, the history of the sport, just basically putting the NBA in football terms, right? And I was like, hey, I'm interested. I'm more interested now as I get to learn more about the sport, the positions, how the rules work and stuff like that. And in today's video, we'll be reacting to the history of how each NBA franchise got its name. I'll again reiterate that most of you guys are going to find this video strange and be a bit confused as to why I am doing this kind of video. I literally just did an FC24 slider video yesterday, and here we are reacting to the history of the NBA. I kind of made it clear last week that the channel's going to be a bit all over the place right now, venturing out, trying out new things in terms of sports, video games. And before I go fully into NBA 2K, I wanted to learn about the NBA part, just so that I have more of a connection to the sport, I understand more what I'm doing. And yeah, I hope you guys will join me on this journey. So if you want to enjoy the video, please do drop a like on it and subscribe as well. Are you guys NBA fans? Do you like it? I know 99.9% of the people that have subscribed to this channel are here for FC24 and football and stuff like that, but there are actually quite a few of you guys that do know about other sports, have been very informative and helpful and educational to me as well in the comments. So let me know if you guys support any specific team and how did you guys get into the NBA if you are. But if you just like me, if you are another village idiot like I am in terms of the NBA, let's all learn together, because I believe after today we would have learned just a bit more. So the video we'll be reacting to today is from a channel called Justin Learns Things. It's a video about how each team got its name. It's from August 2018, so almost 6 years ago. Has over 1.8 million views, and I was just searching up, history of the NBA, and this popped up and I was like, hey, what if I just look into this? But then I was like, what if we look into this together so that you guys get my honest thoughts, my live reaction to the information as it flows through my dome. And yeah, we're gonna get into that. I don't even know if we're gonna get copyright claimed or blocked, or I don't know, mate. I don't know, but I'll leave all the links, the description below. You know the stuff. But let's not waste any more time and get into the video. Justin Learns Things. How every NBA team got its name.
A good name is essential in any sport, and the NBA is no different. A team name comes in two parts. First, there's the location of the team, and the second is the nickname that the team...
Okay, this is one thing I noticed, okay? Team location and team nickname. Example, the Miami Heat, Location, Miami, nickname, Heat. We're learning.
Chooses for themselves. Each team has its own story. Let's take a look.
Okay, interested in the story.
Let's start with the Sacramento Kings.
The
oldest running franchise in the NBA. The team was founded as a semi-pro team in Rochester, New York in 1923. They were originally named the Seagrams. Now you may be asking, what's a Seagram? Me too. Is it a pilgrim of the sea? I don't know, let me look. What is a Seagram? Okay, here's something. Seagram's the drink, named after Joseph E. Seagram. Well, that's the best I can find. Literally, I have no idea what a Seagram is.
Okay.
Anyway, when the Seagrams joined the NBL in 1945, which you can check out on my first video, they renamed themselves the Rochester Royals. In 1957, now part of the NBA after the NBL and BAA merger, they moved to Cincinnati, and they became the Cincinnati Royals. Then, in 1972, they moved and split time between Kansas City and Omaha. Because of Kansas City's baseball team, they changed their name from the Royals, and that's when they became the Kings. Side note, I love themed sports cities, so the Kings fit perfectly with KC's sports theme. The Kings, the Royals, the Chiefs. Maybe one day I'll make a video about how awesome themed sports cities are.
Okay. What's going on in Kansas and royalty? Is that like a thing? Chiefs, Royals, Kings, whatever. I don't know. That's one thing I noticed. And one thing I'm noticing here is, well, this specific team have changed their name quite a few times. Now, do bear in mind that I come into this whole experience with a football fans, soccer to some of you, mindset, right? Where a team rarely changes its name. I know some teams have, but maybe like once or twice in their entire history. So this is a bit strange to me.
In 1975, they moved full-time to Kansas City, but it was short-lived. After only a decade, the team relocated for a final time to Sacramento, finally becoming the Sacramento Kings. Number 2, the Detroit Pistons. Now, the Pistons have always been the Pistons, but they too started life as part of the NBL in Fort Wayne, Indiana. They were actually called the Fort Wayne Zollner Pistons, adding a third part to our team name anatomy, the name of the owner.
Okay.
Zollner actually owned a company that made pistons. That's where they got the nickname from. I mean, talk about great ad placement. It'd be like the Cleveland Cavs being called the Cleveland Gilbert Quickens. Shoot, I really shouldn't give Dan Gilbert branding ideas. When the team moved to the Basketball Association of America before the merger that created the NBA, they dropped the Zollner from the name. Because of Fort Wayne's small size, it made it difficult to turn a profit with the Pistons. So in 1957, Zollner moved his Pistons to the Motor City. The team finally became the Detroit Pistons, a name that remarkably worked out perfectly. Number 3, the Atlanta Hawks.
Atlanta Hawks.
In 1946, the Hawks were born in Buffalo, New York as the Buffalo...
Okay. Why are the Atlanta Hawks born in Buffalo, fam? What's going on here? I mean, we're only into the third franchise, right? Almost a team. I guess the proper word is franchise. Why are they moving around so often? You know, aren't you just formed in a place and then you reside in that place and you're like the local team for the place? Am I missing something here?
Bisons of the NBL. However, because of the team's inability to draw fans, after only 38 days, the team relocated to the Tri-City metropolis of Moline and Rock Island, Illinois, and Davenport,
So they moved to Iowa.
Okay,
Wow.
metropolis is generous. Their name was changed upon relocation to the admittedly clunky-sounding Tri-Cities Blackhawks. In 1951, now a part of the NBA, and realizing that the Tri-Cities are much too small for an NBA team, the team relocated to Milwaukee and became the Milwaukee Hawks. After only 4 years there, the Hawks traded their Miller for Budweiser, and they moved from Milwaukee, becoming the St. Louis Hawks. Despite finding success on the court in St. Louis, the owner had a dispute over the quality of the arena, and they were unable to solve it, so he just sold the team to Atlanta-based owners who moved the team in 1968, giving us the Atlanta Hawks.
Okay, does this still happen though, the whole moving of teams thing, or is it just like a long time ago thing? Like, can the Miami Heat not be based in Miami, like in the next few years? I don't understand this.
Hawks. Number 4, Boston Celtics.
Please tell me you were made in
this
Boston,
is one of
mate.
the boring
Please.
ones, but
For my
this
own
is going to be
sanity.
a long video, so that's okay. In 1946, the Celtics were established as a charter member of the BAA. The name Celtics comes from the Celtic people, or Celtic people.
So Ireland?
Depends on who you ask. Many Irish people immigrated to Boston, and many Irish people trace their ancestry back to the Celts. So Irish, Celts, Boston, Celts.
I like this.
Celtics.
I like this. Celtics, keep it simple. You know, most, a lot of Irish people moved, to Boston, Celtic, Celts, you know what I'm saying? Okay, that one makes sense to me. And from reading the comments in the previous video, I came to learn that the Boston Celtics are actually the most successful team in the NBA, or one of the most successful teams. I can't recall, but I like the fact that they're from Boston, they've been in Boston, and coincidentally, probably the most successful team. I like them.
5, the Golden State Warriors.
Golden State Warriors.
The Warriors have always been
That's
the
a sick
Warriors.
name, fam.
However, they began as the Philadelphia Warriors in the BAA
There we go.
in 1946.
They moved.
A new owner purchased the team in 1962 and moved them to San Francisco. In the late 60s, however, the team began to play more and more games in Oakland instead of San Francisco. And in 1971, the Oakland Arena became their home arena. So rather than change their name from San Francisco to the Oakland Warriors, they opted for the more statewide representation of Golden State Warriors. California's official state nickname? You guessed it, Golden State. Number 6, the New York Knicks.
Oh, the Knicks.
The Knicks were also a founding member of the BAA in 1946, and they have always been the New York Knicks. A Knickerbocker was originally a name given to the descendants of Dutch settlers of what was at the time New Amsterdam, but soon it became New York, and later the term Knickerbocker became a way of describing anyone from New York, so the New York Knicks.
Okay, you see, New York Knicks as well, I like them, and how good are they? Like, are they like a sick team, or historically are they a sick team? Because I know of them, even not being like an NBA or basketball fan, like that deep into it, I know of the New York Knicks. So I presume they are a pretty big franchise.
Number 7, the Philadelphia 76ers. In 1946, Daniel Biasone founded the Syracuse Nationals as part of the National Basketball League. The team remained in Syracuse until new owners purchased them and moved them in 1963 to Philadelphia, just 1 year after the Philadelphia Warriors had moved to San Francisco. Upon relocation, the team held a contest to decide the new name for the team. The winning name, the Philadelphia...
Okay. So from my understanding, the 76ers moved to Philadelphia to replace the Golden State Warriors when they moved to California. Is that what happened here? So does that mean there's a bit of a rivalry thing there? Like you replaced us, but then we're the originals? I don't know.
76ers. The name comes from the year the Declaration of Independence was signed in Independence Hall in Philadelphia. 1776, Philadelphia 76ers. Number 8, the Lakers.
Okay.
The Lakers as a franchise started in 1947 with the purchase of a recently defunct franchise, the Detroit Gems. This franchise was then re-established in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and named the Minneapolis Lakers, an allusion to the state's nickname of Land of 10,000 Lakes. In 1960, because of financial troubles and low attendance, their owner decided to move the team to Los Angeles. This unintentionally began the terrible trend of teams with nicknames that fit their former city but make no sense in their current location. I mean, when's the last time you went boating on a lake in LA? Yeah, that's what I thought.
Okay, so the Lakers part comes from Minnesota. So, is it the Minnesota Timberwolves, I believe? Surely there's something going on there, right?
I see you Lakers with your bad name. Number 9, the Washington Wizards.
Washington Wizards.
Buckle up. This is a messy one. The first NBA expansion team was the Wizards. Well, kind of. The Wizards began life in a very different industry. Far from Hogwarts, they were founded in Chicago as the Chicago Packers.
My goodness.
Yes, you heard correctly. They were founded as the Chicago Packers. The name was a wink and a nod to Chicago's meatpacking industry, but unsurprisingly to anyone who knows anything about sports rivalries, the name was incredibly unpopular. The name Packers was already synonymous with the Green Bay Packers, a huge rival of Chicago's own NFL team. So after only one season as the Packers, the franchise changed its name to the Chicago Zephyrs. All right. Back
There
to
we
Google.
go.
What?
What's a Zephyr, fam?
A Zephyr. Well, as far as I can tell, a Zephyr is a gentle breeze. Not exactly a name that inspires fear in your opponents there, Chicago Zephyrs. This experiment as the Zephyrs was not a successful one. After only a season, in 1963, the team relocated to Baltimore and became the Baltimore Bullets. They were named after the defunct BAA NBA franchise that was in Baltimore, but had folded in 1954, becoming the last NBA franchise to date to completely cease operations. A decade later, in 1973, the team moved from Baltimore to a DC suburb and became the Capitol Bullets.
Oh, so we're not done moving.
This name only stuck around for one season before the team completed the Baltimore to Washington transition, becoming the Washington Bullets in 1974. In the mid-90s, the Bullets decided to change their name again because of rising crime and homicide rates in DC. So in 1997, trying to distance themselves from gun crimes, the Bullets became the Wizards. Number 10, the Chicago Bulls.
Bulls, please.
After losing their previous franchise, more like running them out of town for naming them the Packers, Chicago received another expansion team in 1966. The team was named the Bulls and succeeded in both tying the team name to the meatpacking industry, which the name Packers failed at, and in being a strong and intimidating name, which the Zephyrs failed to do. So all around, Bulls, very successful name.
Okay. So we have the Boston Celtics, the Chicago Bulls, and the New York Knicks. I like them.
Number 11, the Brooklyn
Nets.
In 1967, the Nets were founded as a member of the ABA under the name the New Jersey Americans. They originally tried to be the New York Americans, but the NBA pressured them out of New York and across the river to New Jersey. But in 1968, they secured a move to Long Island, changing their name in the process to the New York Nets. Nets was chosen as the name because, basketball
and
nets. But it was also chosen because Nets rhymes with Mets
Oh.
and Jets. Gotta love sports-themed cities. After the NBA-ABA merger, the Nets were pressured again to move back to New Jersey by the NBA in 1977. This is when they became the New Jersey Nets, what I've known for most of my life. However, after not landing a new deal for an arena in Newark in the mid-2000s, the Nets were sold to a new ownership group who began plans to build an arena in Brooklyn. In 2012, the team moved to their new home and finally became the Brooklyn Nets.
Okay, I kind of sympathize with the Nets there because they were kind of banished and had to move around a bit, but they kept it relatively consistent.
Number 12,
Denver
the
Nuggets.
Denver Nuggets. The Nuggets were also part of the ABA. Originally, they planned to be located in Kansas City, but unable to find a suitable arena, the team agreed to move to Denver. The original name was the Denver Larks, named after the state bird of Colorado. However, because the ownership group did not have enough money to operate the franchise, even before games began, the owners had to sell a 2/3 stake in the franchise to the owner of a long-haul trucking company who decided to rename the team the Denver Rockets. In 1972, the team was sold to new owners who wanted to set the team up well for an anticipated move to the NBA, knowing that the ABA was likely to be merged once a handful of legal stuff was worked out. But there was a problem. The NBA already had a team named the Rockets. So in 1974, these new owners held a contest and renamed the team the Nuggets. Nuggets was chosen in honor of a Denver team of the same name that helped found the NBA. That team, however, only lasted one season in the NBA before it went defunct. The name pays respect to the mining industry that has been in Colorado since the 1800s. Number 13, Houston Rockets. The Houston Rockets were founded in 1967 in San Diego, California. The name Rockets was chosen because of the branch of General Dynamics, an aerospace company that was located in San Diego developing the Atlas rocket. Because of poor attendance, the team was sold in 1971 to an investment group in Texas. The team was relocated to Houston, becoming Texas's first NBA team. The name Rockets was perfect for Houston, and it was kept upon relocation because of Houston's close ties to the space industry. Number 14, the Indiana Pacers.
Okay.
Starting life as an ABA franchise, the Pacers were founded in 1967. The name refers to both the way that horses run in racing and the pace car used in car races to set the pace and positions for a rolling start. The Indy 500 is famous for its pace cars and has used one every year since 1911. Number 15, the Oklahoma City Thunder. The Thunder began life as the Seattle Supersonics, becoming Seattle's first major league sports franchise in 1967. The name Supersonics refers to supersonic air travel. Boeing was founded in Seattle, and the name pays homage to the industry. Is it a homage? Homage? In 2007, Seattle was sold to an Oklahoma City investor group, and in 2008, they relocated the team. The team was renamed to the Oklahoma.
So this is pretty recent, 2008. What's that, like, is that 16 years ago? That 2008 is 16 years ago? Oh my god! Wow! But anyway, that's pretty recent, no? Which means this, I guess, still does happen. The whole moving around thing. But like, as a fan, though, how does that feel? Like, surely there could be like riots and stuff where, you grow up supporting this team, your local team, whatever, since you're from the city, and then it just moves to the other side of the country or something like that. That can't go down too well.
City Thunder in reference to both the weather, especially during tornadoes, and in reference to an infantry division of the Army called the Thunderbirds. 16. San Antonio Spurs.
That's a sick name.
The Spurs were founded as a part of the ABA
But please,
in
no more Spurs.
1967, and they were originally named the Dallas Chaparrals.
Chaparral.
Chaparral.
Like chaperone?
A chaparral is a shrubland found in
No, it's a tree.
California.
Well.
So they're named after a climate? Wait, no, it gets worse. Unable to agree on a team name, they were named for the club room, the Chaparral Club, in a Sheraton Dallas hotel. They were named after a hotel room. For the 1970 season, the team became the Texas Chaparrals, hoping to appeal to the whole region. This ultimately failed, and they returned to being the Dallas Chaparrals the following season. In 1973, the team was sold to San Antonio Business Group and moved to San Antonio. The team was renamed the San Antonio Gunslingers, but before a game was ever played, they settled on a new name, the Spurs. Spurs were chosen because Spurs are worn on cowboy boots and often seen in cowboy films.
Sick name.
Anyway, it's a much better name in every way than Chaparrals. Number 17, the Milwaukee Bucks.
Giannis, my guy.
In 1968, the NBA awarded Milwaukee an NBA franchise. A contest was held for fans to pick the name. The winning team name was the Milwaukee Robins. But like many good Democratic votes, the judges completely overruled the vote in favor of the Bucks. This was chosen in honor of Wisconsin's official animal, the whitetail.
Hold on, so the Milwaukee Bucks just had one name in one place, nothing complicated, no moving around, no names being changed. I like that. I like that.
Number 18, the Phoenix Suns. Also joining the NBA as a new franchise.
They were in the Phoenix Moon at a point.
The Phoenix Suns became the first major sports franchise in Arizona. The Arizona Republic, a local newspaper, held a contest to name the new franchise. Some of the big contenders were the Scorpions, Rattlers, Thunderbirds, but the name Suns won out. Aptly named because, you know, Phoenix is basically the surface of the sun. Love you, Phoenix. Number 19, the Cleveland Cavaliers. The Cavaliers started as an expansion team in the NBA in 1970. Keeping with the new tradition, the Cavaliers chose the name by fan vote. Some other finalists included the Jays, the Foresters, the Towers, the Presidents, but the name Cavaliers won, hoping to connote a group of daring and fearless men. The name wouldn't really fit though until they drafted LeBron, so let's just be real. Number 20, Portland Trailblazers. Portland had attempted to bring an NBA franchise to the city since the 50s. They finally got their wish when they got their team in 1970. Again, their name was selected by a contest. The name Pioneers was the most popular, but it was already the nickname of the local Lewis and Clark College. I mean, no wonder it was so popular. So they settled on Trailblazers, which held much of the same meaning, throwing back to pioneers and the Lewis and Clark expedition and to Oregon Trail and dying of dysentery, the best. Number 21, the Los Angeles Clippers. Basketball has a bit of a history of trying to have a team in Buffalo, and it's just not working out. That's where this story starts. The last of the three 1970 expansion teams began life as the Buffalo Braves. After nearly a decade of poor performance, difficult arena deals, and a failed attempt at selling the team, the owner did something unthinkable. He swapped ownership with the Celtics owner. Yes, they just straight up swapped teams. This is unthinkable, but I guess 30 to 40 years ago it didn't matter as much? I don't know. This new owner for Buffalo lived in California and wanted to move his franchise closer. He knew he would never be able to do that with the Celtics because Boston would probably riot and burn the city down. So in 1978, the relocation was finalized, giving San Diego an NBA team again after losing the Rockets in 1971. A contest was held to decide the new name and Clippers was chosen, naming the team after the sailing ships often seen in San Diego's bay. In 1982, the team was sold to Donald Sterling, famous for his racist remarks on the TMZ tape, and in 1984, Sterling decided to move the team from San Diego to LA. Like literally, he didn't ask anybody, he just decided, I'm moving the team from San Diego to LA. Unsurprisingly, the NBA was not very happy and fined Sterling an astronomical $250 million. Luckily for old racist Donald, he ended up paying a measly $6 million. What's $6 million to a couple of chums like us? Number 22, the Utah Jazz. In 1974, the NBA expanded again, this time to New Orleans. The name was maybe the easiest to choose and probably on the Mount Rushmore of team names, the New Orleans Jazz. It's beautiful. I mean, seriously, how great is that name? Jazz was chosen because New Orleans is literally world famous for jazz music. Alas, this magnificent name was not long for the world. Despite decent attendance over its first 5 seasons, financial troubles prompted the team to move. Salt Lake City was chosen in part because of the city's success supporting an ABA franchise years earlier. The team decided to keep its name because there literally was not enough time to change it after receiving.
I'll be honest, I'm not a fan of the Utah Jazz for no particular reason, just the name, Utah Jazz. They sound boring.
Approval to move the team. They just were stuck with it. They just kept a name about world famous music in a very specific location and applied it to a location that has no connection whatsoever to jazz music. And that's how you go from the best named team to the worst named team. Awful. Number 23, Dallas Mavericks. In the late 1970s, an ownership group was working on bringing a team to Dallas. Their attempts included trying to purchase the Milwaukee Bucks and the Kansas City Kings. Both purchases fell through because the teams did not want to relocate. So instead, they lobbied for an expansion team. In 1980, the NBA owners voted allowing Dallas to have a team. The name was chosen by fans, and it was named after the TV show Maverick. No joke, look it up. Dallas Mavericks, named after a TV show. 24, Charlotte Hornets. As a part of another round of expansion, Charlotte was selected for an NBA team in 1988. The original team name was the Charlotte Spirit, because nothing says team spirit like literally naming your team the Spirit. However, and much to their credit, they held a contest to choose a different name and eventually settled on the Hornets. The team went on pause as the ownership reached an agreement to move to New Orleans in 2002. After a 2-year hiatus, the NBA awarded franchise rights for a team to remain in Charlotte. In 2003, the team name of Charlotte Bobcats was announced for this new franchise. So while the team remained in Charlotte, it was technically now a new franchise and had another expansion draft. They began playing again in 2004. In 2010, Michael Jordan, yes, that Michael Jordan, became the majority owner of the Bobcats. In 2014, the team announced that they were going to rename the team back to the Hornets and change the color to match their original team's color. Really came full circle.
They've been through 25. A lot, hey? Okay, so what happens in terms of like historical achievements if you change your name? Are they still carried over? Like if the Bobcats won, I don't know, a championship, whatever it's called, right? Does that also reflect on the Hornets? Or if the team was based in a different city and they move and change their name, like does the trophies or whatever they won previously still count like in their historical achievement? I have no idea.
Miami Heat. Another team a part of the 1980s expansion, the Miami Heat began to play in the NBA in 1988. The name was selected by submissions from fans, beating out names like Sharks and Barracudas and Beaches. The Miami Beaches sounds like a tourism advertisement. Heck, it probably was. But anyone who has been to Miami in the summer knows that the name at least fits. It's hot. 26, Minnesota Timberwolves. Miami Heat. Continuing the late 80s expansion, the Timberwolves brought the NBA back to Minneapolis in 1989. This was the first time the city had a team since the Lakers fled for warmer weather in 1960. Keeping the tradition of, let's just let the fans decide alive, the team held a naming contest and they had 2 finalists, the Timberwolves and the Polars. The name was then voted on by city councils and the name Timberwolves won. 27, Orlando Magic. Rounding out the expansion of the late 80s was Orlando. While selected for an NBA franchise in 1987, the team wouldn't start playing until 1989. The Orlando Sentinel, a local paper, held a contest to name the franchise, and Magic was the winning name. The name alludes to the magic of Orlando's many amusement parks. Unlike the Miami Beaches, the Magic totally went for the tourism angle. 28. Toronto Raptors. In the 90s, the NBA decided to expand into Canada. The 28th franchise was awarded to Toronto. Toronto had previously had a BAA team back in the 40s named the Toronto Huskies, and originally the team appeared set to revive the name for their NBA franchise. However, it appeared that it was going to be difficult to differentiate between the Huskies logo and the Timberwolves logo, so they turned to the tried and true method of letting the people decide. The winner was the Raptors.
What is a
This was
Raptor,
likely
fam?
due to the still popular 1993 film Jurassic Park. 29. Memphis Grizzlies. The other expansion team into Canada was the Vancouver Grizzlies, established in 1995. The team was originally named the Mounties after the Royal Mounted Canadian Police. However, both the Mounties, as in the actual police force, and the fans did not like the name. So the team turned to the fans, and the name Grizzlies won. In 2001, the team moved from Vancouver to Memphis. The team briefly considered renaming themselves, but in the end, they decided to keep the Grizzlies. Number 30, the New Orleans Pelicans.
Are there even any Grizzlies in Memphis? Tennessee? That's down south, right? I'd be shocked.
When the owner of the Charlotte Hornets was allowed to move to New Orleans, the New Orleans Hornets were born. Because their ideal name was still taken, looking at you, Salt Lake City, they decided to keep the name the Hornets. Because of Hurricane Katrina in 2005, the team temporarily relocated to Oklahoma City. This temporarily changed their name to the New Orleans Oklahoma City Hornets. After a new owner purchased the team in 2012, they looked for a more regionally appropriate name. Again, because their best option was still taken, they settled on the Pelicans, which was announced.
It wasn't
in
there another Hornets that we just did?
The Pelican is the state bird of Louisiana. You know, the safe go-to for sports franchise names.
Not really so
If you
original,
think
is
the
it?
Pelican may not seem like a very intimidating name, try eating an ice cream while walking on the beach. And that's it. A history of how every team in the NBA ended up where they are.
Okay, that's interesting. And there's a lot of moving around. There's a lot of that happening. There's a lot of names changing, right? There are some teams that haven't changed their names. And I'll be honest, I was kind of going into this video thinking that this would give me like a better idea on how to pick a team to support. I'll be honest, there are like some sick names like Golden State Warriors, San Antonio, like they sound sick to say, right? However, I don't know. I like the originals in a sense, like the Chicago Bulls have only ever been called the Chicago Bulls, are from Chicago, never left. You know, similarly to the Miami Heat, right? Makes sense. Miami hot heat. You know what I'm saying? What else is it? Boston Celtics, New York Knicks. I like these. I'm sure there are others that I'm forgetting as well. But yeah, you guys let me know your thoughts in the comments about this video. Did you learn anything? Do you have a team you support? And which are some of the best names out there? And again, I have so many questions that I probably asked throughout this video. Listen, I am the village idiot in this, okay? I'm just here to learn. I'm very much intrigued, and you guys probably know better than I do. But anyway, if you have enjoyed the video, please do drop a like on it and subscribe as well. I greatly appreciate that. I've been Quick You Question, and I will see you guys next time.